ready.
Are we ready?
Yes, we are.
I'm here.
You're here. Gary's here, Janet's here, Greg's here. We're ready to go, aren't we? Larry's here.
Hey, Paul.
I'd like to call to order the Properties, Environment, and Economic Development Committee. Roll call, please.
Mr. Erickson.
Here.
Mr. McCormick.
Here.
Mr. Beggs.
Here.
Mr. Hardy.
Excused by the chair.
And Mr. Walker.
Here.
Approval of the minutes of May 28, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support Walker.
Moved by Beggs, supported by Walker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Would there be any changes to our agenda this morning? Would anyone have any changes to our agenda? Hearing none, I'll seek approval for the agenda as written.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Moved by McCormick, supported by Walker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Would there be any public comment at this time? Would there be anyone that would have public comment? Hearing none, I will invite Mr. Gary McKean of our Parks and Recreation up for a presentation on Oceana County Parks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to come before you. I brought some pictures with me today of some of the progress that we've had this last year. And I just like, as I put in my written annual report, to point out a couple of things about parks and what value they bring to Oceana County. Number one is an economic value. This project that we're looking at right here is the boardwalk at Marshville Dam. The boardwalk itself was a $300,000 gift to the community through granting. That whole project was $2.3 million that was brought into the county as an improvement to that particular park. Health and environmental is another part of what you're looking at. This last week ago, Saturday, we had 40 disabled veterans and disabled people that were on that boardwalk fishing. It was a free fishing day with the state of Michigan. Unfortunately, they brought bobbers and worms, and trout don't go after worms and bobbers too well. But they had a good time, and it was wonderful to have people there in wheelchairs and power chairs and so on. So it's a wonderful gift in that respect. But the social importance of what we've done on this particular project and other projects in the county and parks is really significant. One of the ladies that was there was a mother of two, I would say adult women, and they had some disabilities. And after a while, the one daughter went down on that far dock there. She was actually fishing on there. And when we had lunch, they brought a grill and they cooked hot dogs for everybody and so on. But after lunch, she came over to me and she said, all my years of my daughter being in the state that she's in, she never leaves my side. And here I am sitting up on the bank looking out on the dock, and here she is fishing and having a smile on her face. It's pretty remarkable to see the changes that can develop through little projects like this that would allow things to go forward. To switch to the next slide. So along with that, this is an investment that we made out of the Parks Fund. So the Capital Improvement Fund that we were able to have from the county board. This was an improvement to the parking lot, so we paved the parking lot, and it's turned out to be really nice. Over on the far right is over, I think, about 400 or 500 2x12 by 4-foot boards that were donated by a lumber company in mid-Michigan this last year. They're in our storage unit out at the airport. We hope to use those for the Black Lake improvement. I have a committee on our board that is actually looking and studying that, and we've hired an outside engineer to engineer a pathway through the south part of Black Lake, which will open access to that wonderful wooded area back to the south of the lake itself. Next one. And August the 28th, I think it was the grand opening ribbon cutting. We had over 100 people there. Many of you were there. I thank you for that. It was a wonderful day. And the thing that caught me by surprise that I didn't realize until I stood there in front of everyone and basically realized that everybody there was interested in not only our county parks but in nature and the things that we have in this community that are so outstanding. We'll go to the next one. So that's just another overview of the parkland. There were 2,300 trees and bushes and shrubs that were planted into the wetland area, and they're maturing well. We have had some issues with an invasive plant called poison hemlock, and poison hemlock is highly hazardous to one's body. So we've had an outside crew to come in and spray for that, and now we've damped it down. We never had that before in that area. We believe it came in on one of the excavators from some of the work, but fortunately we're able to get it under control before each seed head has about 30,000 seeds to it, and we'd be taking hemlock out of that area for a long time if we don't catch it in time. Next one. And one of my favorite shots, I took that one this last summer, and the bridge is still remarkable to me. People say, well, I'm afraid that I'm going to have my heavy load go across that bridge and it might collapse. That's a 100-year bridge. It's designed to have all the weight that anything that goes across Highway 31 goes across it. So heavy transports and so on, not an issue at all. Next one. And this is a friend of mine, Joe Klimovitz, who is the president of a community foundation. He was a professional photographer for many, many years, and he took these shots this last fall. Pretty remarkable photography. I think the one on the right is actually on the community foundation on one of their pamphlets or flyers. And there's winter on the creek, so we had a lot of folks that still went down to the walkway and the creek to enjoy the winter. And part of what we do in county parks is partnerships. So we've developed a wonderful partnership with the Conservation District, Oceana Conservation District. They use our parks for educational purposes. This week out at Gales Pond and Doolittle Park, they have 45 young people out there in a day camp that's being led by Carrie Van Dynen. So Carrie Wilson has been our educator for many years, and she liked to have the summer off. So she still leads our programming with the Nehi Naturalists and the homeschool people. So Carrie Van Dynen has taken over. Other partners that we've worked with over the years is the West Michigan Disability Network, which you'll see here in a minute. But certainly the Road Commission has been a big help to us going forward. And the county airport, Kurt is just a wonderful guy to work with. He's allowed us to have half of a hangar space out there. We keep threatening to get a plane to have for parks, but somehow that's not going to fit in what the half space we have is. There's so many. Great Lakes Energy is one that this last year they moved a pole up at Cedar Point for us, and it took a little bit of persuading and a little bit of letter writing and campaigning, but they didn't charge us to do that work. They took a pole down, moved the transformer, so we actually buried a line that went through the park that used to be a nuisance, and now it's a nice clear view, which you'll see here in a little bit. But other partnerships we developed, of course, with the Sheriff Department. If we do have an issue, the Sheriff is always on call. It's always something that is necessary in cases. We do have some vandalism, which you'll see here in a little bit, unfortunately. But the opportunity to continue to grow parks is really important, and the trust that you have in the 10 people on the Parks Board is significant, and we thank you for that. Next one. So one of the things when we built the walkway, I had a call from a gentleman there on the bottom left rather, and the green shirt. Dave is up in the Pentwater area, and he was president of Fly Fishers International, trout fishermen. And the guy sitting next to him you might recognize is John Wines. He's one of our board members. And Dave called me and said he'd like to donate a bench in memory of a friend of his who's a trout fisherman to put on the dock at Stony Creek. So I brought that to our board. John Wine said, "Oh, wait a minute, I want one too." But they kind of, John said, "Well, I want the one that's farthest out into the marsh." And Dave said, "Well, I'd like that one." So wound up, John got the nod because of his family relationship to the park wrapping around it. But that's our park bench that was donated, and those two guys on the upper left, of course, are John and I sharing a brief moment of two senior members of the Parks Board. The guy in the middle, I can't say enough about. He's the guy that we hired this year, Kevin Moore. Kevin's a Shelby resident. Has been doing a fantastic job. He's taken the F-350 truck that we have and made it into a cargo van with all sorts of equipment. He double-decked it because he didn't have enough room, and he does amazing stuff. He took the seats out of it, and we have a couple of extra seats, and he wound up putting that into the club car that the Sheriff's Department sent out to the airport last couple of weeks ago. So now they have nice bucket seats in the new club car. So he and Kurt together are scary. When I leave, I'm like, oh, what am I going to see next time when I come back? I just never know. But they're always working on something together. But Kevin has done a great job, and he with a chainsaw taking down saplings for better view and at Black Lake and all sorts of other places has done a remarkable job. Probably one of the best investments that we've ever made for an employee. He's a go-getter, and he's there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and he's there at 4:30 when it's time to go home, and he's respectful, and I talk to him 3 or 4 times a day, texting or in person. So he's a great catch for us. Thank you for that. So we moved to Cedar Point, and we were able this last year to get all of the concrete work done before winter set in. So we now have really nice 6-foot wide walkways that go up to the shelter. We have three different outdoor picnic areas that now have ADA benches, and all of the concrete works meets ADA specifications. So 1 inch and 12 inches is the rule. So Dave Fox was really wonderful to work with. He got all of that construction, all of the grading done, and Swanson Concrete did a wonderful job with the concrete work, and it's really come together very well. So one more. And that's the new accessible parking. So we're able to get work with the County Road Commission, and they put in basically all the dirt work, and then we were able to have a paving company, API from Muskegon, come in and pave it this last fall. And just recently we had the striping contractor come back and stripe it. So we now have a really great place for disabled people, handicapped people, and so on to unload in a van. They can either go to the shelter or they can go toward Lake Michigan and be on that wonderful deck that we built 4 or 5 years ago. So we still haven't figured a way to get them down to the beach. 62 stairs are an issue. And that's Gales Pond and Doolittle. On the left is one of the educational programs that we have. They're walking through the marshland. One of the problems we're having on the marshland is that the water from the 3 creeks that feed into Gales Pond has dropped significantly in the last 2 years. We've had a tremendous amount of reeds that have come in, and they've hybridized. So we're not only having the native Michigan reeds, we're also having a hybridized version which is much more aggressive. And we're going to probably have to look at some way of removal in the future. I'm just not sure. When they dry out in the fall, they become a fire hazard to the dock there, to the boardwalk. But I have had the GEI folks look at it. I've had actually our excavator did the work for us down at Marshville look at it. He said, well, Gary, we'll have to dig it out. I'm a little leery about digging it out, so there's a whole bunch of that have to go through to do that. And over on the right, you'll see no motorized vehicles. We continue to have people that can push those posts over. They're 3 feet in the ground. They need to probably be about 4 feet or 5 feet, I'm not sure. But they just drive right through there, and they developed a kind of a 2-track on the back of Doolittle Park that goes up to an area that is really not accessible any other way. So I've talked to the property owners. They agree that we need to try to keep them out as best we can. It's an ongoing battle, but we're working on it. But the nice thing about the property owners about parks, around our parks, is they're generally, for the most part, very agreeable, and they'll talk and they'll have conversations with us. So we like to be good neighbors, like we like to have good neighbors. And this was a young lady from Hart who was a photographer and setting up her own little business, and I was out at Gales Pond one Saturday afternoon, and she'd set up this little setup for high school seniors to come out and have their picture taken. So she had, I don't know, 4 or 5 appointments for people to come out in the fall around Halloween to have their picture taken at Gales Pond with that little setting she put together. Conservation Stewardship Program was a program that we worked with MSU Extension on, and we brought it to Oceana County this last year, and we had 25 participants, and largely in the 8-week class they went to 4 of our parks. One, of course, is the one that's shown right here, is Marshville, but we also spent quite a bit of time at Gales Pond and Doolittle with everything from forestry to water and so on. But it was a great opportunity to have many people from the county, but also outside the county, see what we have to offer in the natural world. It was really a great time. Then we get to the West Michigan Disability Network. Will Wilson is the gentleman on the left. He is the executive director in Muskegon. They cover a 5-county area, and they largely are looking at and helping groups try to find funding for ADA accessibility. So he has grants that are becoming available. We hope to apply for one for Black Lake, and he was able to have his staff bring up and set up a couple of tents there, or canopies, and brought about 40 people with them to enjoy the creek as we see it there. And there's the accessible fishing we talked about. There's a guy in the power chair who had a big smile on his face. He really enjoyed going up and down that ramp. A couple of visitors at Marshville. We have reoccurring snappers that come up and lay eggs in the gravel at the top of the hill. 2 guys on the side, one on the right is my son, and the other one's my grandson. They live in Chicago area, and they're amazed at what we have in Oceana County. They love to come and visit his mom and dad or grandparents, which we're grateful for. Now, graffiti is an ongoing battle, so these are some of our park tables that have been, I'll call it art. I'm not sure what the gang signs are. If they are gang signs, I'm not sure. But we have a process now where we paint over or we pressure wash some of the graffiti off. And the next slide you'll see is the one that really disturbed me the most. Yeah, that one. On the left you can see that's the new handrail. That was 2 weeks after the ribbon cutting at Marshville. Someone had defaced the handrail down probably about 30 feet. And they took a magic marker and actually scratched onto the sign that we have, the informational board sign. Fortunately, I talked to the sign company, and by using a alcohol material, the magic marker wipes right off. The other ones took a little while longer, but we sanded them down and were able to get most of the scrolling off. I'd love to catch Rose, whoever she is. And that was reported to the sheriff. We took pictures, and it's one of the things that we're faced with. And last year we got our first parked vehicle, F-350, 15 passenger. We affectionately call it the Gray Whale, and she's a big boy, but she's really serving us well. She's driven every day by Kevin, and we've really made her into a really good vehicle for what we use it for as far as park maintenance and so on. It has a trailer hitch, so we have a trailer now that we hope to use differently. We're looking next year probably to actually do all of our own mowing, since we have several lawn services in a couple of our parks which continue to escalate in cost. But I think the opportunity, once we get things squared away in our parks and settled down, we'll have the opportunity to expand some of our maintenance programs. And last is, thank you. So on behalf of the 10 people who serve on the board, we thank you for what you do for us to help us go forward. You know, one of the things I've thought about as I go around the county, and I've seen over the last 5 years, we've seen an amazing park that's developed at Shelby Township Park. We've seen an unbelievable building that's been constructed there, a 65,000 square foot athletic center. We saw out in Hesperia, we saw a new shelter built out there with some park upgrades. Pentwater continues to upgrade all of their parks. The ability to grow our parks in the county has been wonderful in the last 5 years. I shouldn't throw away the Conservation District with the Ottawa Nature Preserve. That's an 80-acre parcel that people are using more and more all the time from both in the county and outside of the county. But also the Stony Creek property, which is a 40-acre piece on Baker Road. So all of those groups collectively have really, as well as Getty Park with Shelby, the village of Shelby. These are all been amazing assets to bring to the county to increase the economic value, also sociability, but also the ability to be proud. So that's my 2 cents today.
Thank you for what you do, Gary.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gary.
No questions?
I got, my name's Rose. No. Larry Dorn, 7499.
You can just call me.
Okay, well, I do have a couple of questions. First of all, I was out at Cedar Point last week. That beautiful job out there.
Yeah.
I want to commend you for that. I was at Black Lake yesterday, actually, and talking about that south side. That'd be a great asset. I do have a question. One of the campers there did say that possibly that was going to turn into all seasonal rentals. Is that?
So that's not a decision. There's 14 campsites, as you know.
Mhm.
We try to limit seasonal to maybe 8. But there's also expansion opportunities there. So over here is a park plan behind on
Okay.
those boards. There is possibility that could be expanded to as many as 60 campground locations. That's going to take a huge amount of income and money to do that, to go forward. So to answer your question, Larry, specifically, that decision's not been made. The opportunity to have this little park, and with 14 campsites, it's not really economically feasible to have a staff, pay the electric bill, pay for this, the portage on and things of that nature. So it's a lost leader, let's put it that way. So we hope to make it, it's a 100-acre park, as you know.
Mhm.
And what we hope to do is to make part of it a day park. So the day park would be the south part of the property, where the wonderful wooded forest area is, that could get access to the backside of the pond, or the lake rather. So that's to be determined, and that's a discussion we have probably once a year, probably for 2 hours with the Parks Board. And but yeah, so that decision's not been made.
Okay, well, I'll see you August 6th then. Anyways, I don't know where Doolittle Park is.
Right across from Gales Pond. Yeah, it's a 40-acre piece. Esther Doolittle gave that to the county back in the 80s, Paul, I think.
Esther Weird.
Esther Weird, yeah. And she was a school teacher, as I understand. And there are trails there, and it's a wonderful place. We have a shelter that's been built. Right now, you'll see these 45 kids out there enjoying living in the woods. The Nehi Naturalists, they have you have to go there and see what's happened there.
Okay.
But Carrie Wilson, our educator, has built a whole outdoor classroom there out of sticks and boards and stuff. And they have a camp area, a campground area, and they have a mud pie making station. I mean, her imagination is way beyond my scope. She constantly sends me stuff like, we want to put a canoe out in the middle of Gales Pond so the kids can go out there. And I'm going, no, the liability is way too great. We're not doing that. But she has amazing vision, and we're so grateful for partners like that. The other person I wanted to lift up is actually our campground caretaker, Stacia Erickson. Stacia, I call her the sheriff of Black Lake. She has made a world of difference out there. The campers love her. There's a couple of campers that maybe not so much, but they're ones that we don't necessarily want in a campground like that. So between her and the help with Kevin Moore, our employee, they have really changed a lot of things out there for the good, and we hope to be able to continue to have camping and not make that just a full-time park in the future. But that's a decision that our board will have to make as time goes on.
Okay, because I'd hate to see that be taken away, because it is a nice little place to camp.
It's a pretty special place.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt
So,
about it. I didn't address other parks, but Crystal Valley continues to be well used. We've hired a ball field, a fellow, Jacob, he'd hit me, but he's actually the guy that does the ball fields for Hart High School, and he's
Gallup,
yeah. Okay, thank you. And so he's been out there removing weeds and getting that ball field ready. We have games scheduled out there regularly. The pavilion's being used regularly. We've had trees that we've taken down, and Lee's been a great help to that over the years. He's been a great advocate of that park for Crystal Township. We're always appreciative of that. And Marshville, or not Marshville, but Mill Pond, it continues to be a park that we can't get our arms around for some reason. There's a lot of vandalism that continues. We have neighbors that are maybe not as cooperative with as our other neighbors at some of our other parks. So but that's one of the things that we have to tackle going forward some form or fashion. So okay, I think that about does it. I'll be back before the end of the year. It was a 5-year, I'll do a 7-year review of my kind of leading this commotion.
Thank you, sir, very much. Department head reports.
Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I really don't have much today. We've got 40 people in jail. The road patrol's pretty busy. We've got some extra people here in the county, as you all know. We've taken on a few extra complaints because of that, but nothing out of the ordinary. Happy to answer any questions if you have any for me. I don't have a lot. Okay.
It's good it's quiet.
All right.
For
Good
now,
luck.
knock on wood.
Good luck in Rothbury.
Any other department head reports? Hearing none, public comment. Mr. Heislip.
Morning,
Good
Lee.
morning. Lee Heslop, Crystal Township. I guess I have 3 minutes. Hope I am not too brief. More than 2 cents worth, thank you. Awesome. I got a letter, I don't know if you guys got it, from Tracy, so I'm going to address my response to you. This is an educational piece and an ask for help, if you haven't. My dad raised me to one basic thing: action speaks louder than words. I was here 4 years ago and fumbled around and said, you guys, how can you make a decision on what's going on in the dam with bad or poor information? And we've worked forward to the point where we now actually have holes drilled in the dam. We know what the dam's going to do, and we have some numbers based on that. Ironically, the letter I got from you, Tracy, paragraph 3, yes, the dam and park, they are important to the county. When I was out there on Monday, there was a gentleman trying to get the screen over the top of the fence and pull it and grade it out there, and didn't have a key, so because I had that thing in the hospital there, I said, I can't help you. But we got him over there anyway.
That was Kevin.
Okay. And your letter doesn't have any numbers in it. There's nothing to work on. So I did a lot of research, and I found that the engineer sent in, he thought it was going to be $1 million, $1.2 million, but for safety's sake, maybe you should bump it up to $1.5 million. Then one of the citizens got a hold of me, and Tim, I guess you made a comment that it's going to be $1.7 million. You're asking me for decisions, and I don't have a number. What are we putting into it? Crystal donated the land, the pavilion, the dam, maintenance, the ballpark. We've done a tremendous amount of work and spent a lot of energy out there. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast. It's been 4 years. There's been some action. It's good to see the maintenance being done, the trees being taken down, and I appreciate that. The sheriff helped convince a couple boys that carried their rifles through the pavilion to leave. They're gone anyway, and we've had no graffiti. Thank you. I gotta ask, action speaks louder than words, but what has the county done on that project? The weed control, apparently, Gary, you said there's some things being done, and I appreciate that. You've covered the guy over the fence there. The drain commissioner in a letter abandoned working on that project, but I understand she'll go work on the west side of the freeway and has no problems with that. That concerns me. In one of the emails I did in my research after this letter, you sent a letter to Gary asking Susie Knoll to come down and get a group out there to find money to take the dam out. But don't include
That is
Paul
not what-
Erickson.
that
I'm
is
not
not what
looking,
was
this,
said.
I have 3 minutes, so
Yes, you
this
do.
is what I read. But you said don't invite Paul Erickson because he's pro saving the dam. That's not good cooperation. Paragraph 4, demonstrate support. In June of 26, I jumped on this thing like I was crazy. I printed all this stuff up. I got a hold of Halleck. I went up to see Ken Adams. I saw Brock Adams. Ken and I met again. They're too busy. I got a hold of DeWitt Dewatering, asked them for a record on what they did a few years ago. That came back at not quite double, but $382,000 instead of $225,000 in just a couple of years. Halleck and the Adams people probably won't get back right away. The most important part, here's the last page, collaboration. Collaboration means the process of 2 or more people, teams, or organizations working together to achieve a standard shared goal, solve a problem, or create something new. The county doesn't share. I don't know what the numbers are, I don't know what your actions are, but you've asked us to see what we can do to pay for it in Crystal Township. Did any of the other 16 townships get invited to help with this? I don't think so, not from the way this letter is written. It's not a Crystal Township park, it's a county park. I think we can solve this problem. I don't think you've given Gary enough money to take care of the parks. That's been pretty evident. I think you've got in excess of $40 million of taxpayer funds. I think we could use that. I will give you an answer by the deadline you've given us of October 1st. What we're going to do is we put together a committee and we're going to ask for public feedback. We're going to put a piece in our July tax bill. We're going to put this letter on our website. We want the people of the county to give direction on where we should go with this county park. If we're not going to keep the park, let's get rid of it. Plow it in, turn it into turnips. We're going to have a probably July public hearing, a gathering of the people. We've demonstrated support for other causes. Example, the Build Grant, which I started at about the same time I started this. It took a couple years to get the traction, but I did get money from the local farmers. We hired a grant writer. That grant writer led to the county road commission saying, hey, you're onto something here. They got a grant for $80,000 from Mile Grant. We didn't get anything last year, but we got accolades from the analyst in Washington say, you guys are feeding America, please reapply. So I understand that tomorrow we should find out if we're going to win $25 million that services Oceana County, and I think that'll be phenomenal. So yeah, we've demonstrated some action, and we can do that, but I don't want to go out and ask the farmers for more money. Mark said we need skin in the game. Everybody likes that. You've been a big one on that, Bob. So Mark went back to Mile and they said, well, we'll give you $1 million. Boom, we got $1 million. He said, what can Crystal do? So I went around, knocked on doors again, and I got the farmers to pledge money. Our township, fortunately we've made some money. Excuse me, our revenues are up. So we pledged $71,000 out of the $100,000 we've developed in a CD. Not bad for 4 years. I don't want to put that kind of money into something we don't know what's going on, and I don't think we've had any collaboration. So hopefully, Tracy, we can see a plan of action on what's going to happen, and we can develop something that gives us a menu on what we need to do to go forward. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry I went so fast, but 3 minutes isn't very long. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Not this time.
Hearing none, we'll seek adjournment of the Properties, Environment, and Economic Development Committee. We're adjourned.
Is our technology ready for finance?
Mr. Beggs.
All right, Mr. Hardy is gone, so I will call Finance and Administration Committee to order. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Beggs,
Here.
Mr. McCormick,
Here.
Mr. Erickson,
Here.
and Mr. Walker.
Here.
Good. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve meeting minutes from June 11, 2026.
So moved. Walker.
Mr. Walker,
Support.
Mr. McCormick with support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Very good. Minutes are approved. Any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll approve a motion to approve the agenda. Or I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
Support.
Mr. Walker with support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Agenda is approved. Any public comment for Finance Administration? Very good. Hearing none. Administrator Byard, West Central Michigan County Alliance lobbyist discussion.
So there is a proposal in your packet that came from Newaygo County. They're asking for the members of the West Michigan County Alliance group to enter into an agreement for additional lobbyist support from a private company. We currently get lobbyist support from the Michigan Association of Counties, but they feel that we need some additional support for our area. And they're asking that each of the counties in that group consider entering into this agreement with them. Regardless of who enters into the agreement, they are planning on moving forward with it. But they are asking all of the western counties to come in with them on this endeavor.
So this is something that we have not cooperatively done in the past.
No.
So this is a new expenditure, a new idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim?
Yes, Mr. Walker.
Tim, I had saw this letter a couple weeks ago, and Chris Wren the administrator had reached out to me, and at this time, I didn't want this to come before the board for an action item. I wanted it to come before the board to just have a discussion that as an option, you know, to bring more in to the West Michigan. We have the right place that works with us now, but when you're talking to grants and everything else in Lansing, and the opinions and the positions of the elected people in West Michigan, you know, the thought is that maybe we would be better served having somebody who works directly for the 5 counties here and not for all 83 counties. And Tracy, is that pretty accurate to where we're at?
Correct.
So, you know, I wanted to bring it before the board because it was brought to us, and I know the next time I see Brian Kolk, the chair from Newaygo County, which will be tomorrow, he's going to ask me, and I'm just going to say, you know, I don't have a position on this myself, and I just wanted to bring it so the board could have some time to think about it and some thoughts to see if it's worthwhile. What were they talking? Maybe in the neighborhood of $5,000 a year?
For each group, a
Oh.
little bit. It'll be, it's
Yeah.
$60,000 total for the entire group. So I don't know if that would be.
That wouldn't cover it then. Be more like
It'd be a little, yeah.
12,000. It's something that, you know, if we want to look into the concept, we'll come into budget time, we could see where we are and see what it works like, you know, for one year. I am not anxious to get committed for 5 years because that's a long ways down the line on an expenditure like this.
For the benefit of those listening, the 5 counties is Oceana, Mason, Lake, Newaygo,
Osceola,
Manistee, Osceola.
oh,
6.
They included Mecosta in their proposal, but I think that was, they were looking at this prior to Mecosta pulling out of the County Alliance, so, yeah.
I talked to 2 of the Mecosta County commissioners after our last health department meeting, and their chair he does not like MAC. He doesn't, and I don't know why. He has something with MAC, but they said that they were of the same opinion that we're doing now. Let's just talk about it and see if anybody is totally against it right now, we'll shut it down right now. And they could too. But they wanted to take it back and talk to their board to see if there was an interest.
I know there's other counties, the larger counties that get lobbyist firms to do this, and I really didn't have an opinion one way or the other, and told Chris that I would bring it to the board and just have a discussion about it.
Personally, I struggle with the idea of lobbyists because I thought that's what I voted for when I voted for a representative in those. So I don't know that I have a strong opinion either way. I guess if we wanted something like this is a decent way to go. But I've always struggled. I've just wondered about the whole lobbyist idea because I thought I voted for one when I voted for a representative.
Well, the other thing is we will be having one more West Michigan County Alliance meeting this year too. We will have September.
No, I believe we have one next month.
Next month, so why don't we just not take any action on this, and let's find out what as a group wise the other counties are doing it. If Newaygo County wants to go on their own, but just a thought, Tim. Let's see what the other ones say.
Yeah, I mean, I can see some benefit. There are similar. We're in this alliance with these other counties because we're similar. We're rural, agricultural-based, tourist-based economies, and there are a lot of similarities. And we do have a small footprint, when it comes to to an Oakland County, and we see a lot of legislation that has that urban mindset that leaves our rural counties going, well, the shoe doesn't fit. So I understand want a voice.
Well, and through the West Michigan Alliance, it's nice for me if we have something going on, or I see something going on in Manistee County, I can call Jeff Dodds, who is the chair up there, or I can call Janet Anderson from Mason County, or I can call Brian Koch from Newaygo County and say, hey, what's this all about?
Mm-hmm.
And what's going on? And I think that's probably what Chris was talking about. He plays a lot more political role than I do.
Yeah, Brian Koch is actually going to be the president of MAC next year.
No.
So for them to bring this forward, it says a lot.
And we all know that Brian Koch was born and raised in New Era on M20, the second house east of Oceana Drive is where Brian is from.
And I think one of the other things that they mentioned was that, yes, we're all members of the Michigan Association of Counties. However, MAC they are overseeing counties as a whole because they're overseeing it for all of us. And like you pointed out, we're in this group together as counties that are right around the same size, and so we're fighting for the same things.
Right.
And I see MAC being involved and having people following all of the legislation and all of the bills that are introduced, and some of them never even come out of committee, and they're already forming their opinion on all of those things, and that's not something that I'm interested in this group doing. If we were part of this group.
Yeah, MAC is advocating for counties, the county authority and the county control, not actual county interest, like Oceana County interest versus an Oakland County interest. So it's yes, but different, you know?
Well, when the Hart Montague Bicycle Trail was put through here, I was on that trail committee before they did the grants. And we've talked before how the completion of that trail, you know, went through. Well, I went to every municipality because they were starting the recreation improvement grants with the DNR. And I went to every municipality along the bicycle trail, every village in the city of Hart and every township. And I got letters of support that went with that grant that I sent into to the DNR for the paving and the construction of that bicycle trail. And I was told several times that those letters of support from everybody else in Oceana County meant a lot as far as the point systems that we got. And you know, that's something like this. If one of the counties has a big project going, if Oceana County has a big project going and we get support from the other counties to help with us, you know, people go across county lines to work. So.
Mr. Erickson.
And I've really enjoyed our alliance and the time that we've come to meet these people and sit and have dinner and talk about our like needs. And you're exactly right when you talk about our socioeconomic place in this state, and we're always running up against Muskegon County, Kent County, right on down to Lansing and then down to Detroit, and our voice is not heard. It just hasn't. A few years ago we didn't get any money for road repair, where it all went down to Wayne County and others. I read the proposal. I found it extremely interesting that it was with the assistance of AI, and before I got down to the end of it I went, oh my God, I wish we could do it without AI. It just, I'm fearful of a lot of these things. You know, if AI is going to start doing the government's work without rational thinking and then come up with an analysis, I'm not real sure about this, but you know, Chris did it, it looked good, they were neck and neck. You know, the difference between excellent and strong, I think there should have been a point scale grading here. You know, it just, but I see the value. And I really do feel that we being like Mason County, like Lake County, which, you know, most of my life we were the second poorest county in the state per capita, next to Lake County being the poorest county in the state per capita. Our needs are much, much greater for our citizens than those other larger counties that have more tax base and infrastructure and things that we just don't have. But I'm in favor of pursuing a lobbyist. I've always used lobbyists in Lansing when I needed to get something done. You pick the phone up, you talk to a strong attorney downtown Lansing, and things move. And I think it's necessary that we do that because there's competition for dollars out there. And unless our voice is heard loud and strong, you know, we won't be in the running for these things. So I appreciate what Chris did here, and like Bob said, tomorrow we'll see Brian Kolk. You know, Brian is very, very involved, and we enjoy talking to Brian. But you know, Brian, Newaygo County is a lot like us, and Osceola, you know, we've gone up to Osceola, and Steve County, we're, like you said, we're all tourist dollars, and fruit and vegetables. Very, very important, but I'd like to pursue it. I mean, I don't think we should cut it out right away. We need to weigh it out before we're done, and you know, if it's a minimal investment that we share with the other counties, I see that it would be of a benefit.
Tim?
Yep.
Lastly, I'd like to comment on what Paul just said. Every time at any of the meetings I'm at, if anybody mentions AI, and we'll go into AI, whether it's the health department, whether it's the community mental health, or who it is, I think to myself, how do people think the Secretary of State's office came up with 30,000 inappropriate personalized license plates in the state of Michigan that they are rescinding from people right now. Nobody sat down and looked through all of those records at the license plates in the state of Michigan. Somebody called up all the personal registrations in the state of Michigan. They fed them into AI, and AI kicked out the 30,000 that they didn't think should be there.
Yep.
That wasn't the person that did that.
Yeah.
It's changing fast.
Mr. McCormick, any comments?
I'm wondering about the return, and there's not a way to. It'd be tough to judge, tough to gauge. It's a voice, like you say. We're small counties, and so you need a voice out there. I guess some of my concern is once they get our premium, our money coming in. Initially, that's going to be fresh. They're going to do something for us. Then I'm thinking they're just going to kind of fade, and it's just a revenue stream, and we kind of forget what we're paying them for, and it's just an overhead expense that we're not getting any return on. Maybe we would see a big difference. I don't know how you can prove that unless you're in it.
Right. I mean, I assume with a lobbyist, we have to bring, this is the cause, we need you to lobby in our favor. And so do we? I'm sure we do, but first we have to identify those causes that we need, maybe it's things like, hey, we're looking for a grant from DNR to rehab a dam. What can you find us, or who can you talk to? I don't know how it works. I'm just spitballing that. I assume that's how it works. We probably need more information.
For that amount of money, it seems like we should get involved.
Yeah, right. It doesn't seem like a real high expenditure to have a collective voice.
And whether we can keep track with a monitor and say, okay, we're done. We're not getting anything for this expense, and we can cut them off. That's always hard to do. It sounds easy, but it's hard to stop once you get in there.
Well, Joel, if we were going to go into this, I still have the same thought that I said earlier. I prefer that we go into this for 1 year and have a sunset at the end of 1 year, and we just make it right, knowing right at first, we're going to be into this for 1 year to see if it does work out. And I'm not advocating it, but I'm certainly not anxious to consider anything more than 1 year.
Mr. Erickson.
Well, and one of the benefits might be where we're working with a half a dozen other counties, and they find a specific need that we're totally unaware of, and then we are informed as to what that is. The potential for us to uncover more things that need attention would be there. So it's a small premium to pay for a firm on retainer.
Right.
And like Bob said, if we did make it a short-term contract to find out how it worked, probably in our wisest interest, we could terminate it if we don't see a value. But
we don't know what's out there, but we're not going to find out unless we're in.
Right.
Unless we try.
We're looking at roughly 7,000 to 8,000 a year, depending on
How many counties? Yeah. Well, yeah. How does that divvy up? Nuego's already said they're going to do it regardless.
Mike, I'm curious if that 60,000 reduces because there's not as many counties in the.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of I assume it's a moving number depending on how many counties. If only 3 counties say yes, then it's probably 60,000 cut 3 ways.
What? Tim? Why don't we have Tracy ask that to be put on the agenda for our upcoming West Michigan?
I think it's a reasonable discussion, and that's where it ought to happen. Let's ask for maybe a representative from that firm to come and be our speaker, and we have a question and answer, or hey, what does the process look like? What do you, and, you know, I don't know if you ask a representative from both firms or if the leading firm from the AI discussion, but, you know, at least help us understand what the process looks like, what kind of ideas and things that they bring before our legislators and how it works, and then a discussion between the counties of what does our agreement look like to enter into this together.
And we may find some counties that are gonna say, we're just not interested at all.
Yeah.
Tracy, would you be able to do that for us?
Do you know what Toby was thinking?
He's in favor of it.
That's Lake County.
Let's go that way, Tim.
Yep, I think it sounds reasonable. Any other comments? All right. Lost my spot. Let me get back here. I think I'm still in the wrong spot. Stand by.
Administrators review.
Yeah. Review claims and your administrator report.
The claims for payment have been included in your packet. Does anybody have any questions on those? If not, the report's included in your packet as well. The only thing I wanted to point out is that I included a copy of the budget schedule in the packet with our annual budget workshop to be scheduled for September 22nd. You could look at your calendars and let me know if we need to make any changes to that, and then we have a second date scheduled in the event that we need to meet again. But we're waiting for the audit to be complete, which they've been sending out more emails to us needing more information, but that is due June 30th, and the budget, we'll do the rollover, and then the budgets will be opened up for the departments to start inputting.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Any questions on that? Comments? Okay. Any department head reports? All said your piece, huh?
I do have a question on that lobbyist. Who would be policing that? I mean, making sure that you're getting your stuff done. Is there a report you'd get back? You know,
Yeah, that's something we'll have to find out. We don't know.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Any public comment?
Well, that was
It's all right.
You can be department head.
Hearing no public comment, we will adjourn Finance and Administration, and let's say we
Take a 10-minute
take
break.
a 10-minute break, and we'll start at 11:35 or 11:40. That clock's not right, so.
Thanks, Tim.
Yep.